Ending his prophecy, the thief exclaimed, fists clenched into figs and lifted high. Take that, O God, you know where these are aimed. Then it was sweet to watch the serpents fly to noose his neck. Let your prideful speech go squeaking through this ligature we'll tie, they seemed to say. Another made a hitch, head to tail, and so pinned both arms fast, squeezing so tight he couldn't even twitch. Alas, Pistoia, why has not a blast from heaven burned your realm to smithereens, since in sin your fruit has far surpassed your wicked seed? In hell I had not seen one soul, not even the great king who fought at Thebes' walls, so proud and full of spleen. Wordlessly he turned to flee. At that, the giant centaur came up at a gallop. You! Where does he scurry to, that rat? All the reeds of Marma do not drape so many serpents as seem to intertwine. His haunches swept upon him like a cape, just where the stallion part joins to the man. Above, burning all in range, there rode a dragon, fires hot under his wingspan. That centaur there is Cacus, my master said, who once made in the hidden caves the lake beneath Mount Aventine turn bloody red. He does not ride above us in the thick of his tortured fellows there, for when he stole Geryon's cattle with his trick, Hercules' great club again thundered down at least 100 blows, though he felt nothing after number 10. Cacus galloped off, and talking so, we, with eyes transfixed there, failed to see 3 more shades had just come from below. One cried up at us, "But who might you be?" Conversation stopped, the light was dim, yet even in the dark chance may agree to fit the mystery snugly in the frame, though I'd no idea who they were. All at once one called the other's name. "Cianfa, he was left behind, but where?" I put my finger chin to lips to show my master to be silent and beware. Now, reader, if you are somewhat slow to credit what I write, no wonder I, the first-hand witness, hardly think it so. The 6 feet of a serpent skittered by, sprang, tight knots linked to tighter knots, before the man had half a chance to cry. Mid-feet gripped between the gut and pit under the pelvis, front feet bound the hands, pincers tongued up cheek to cheek and bit. Around his thighs his hind feet made a band, tail knifed up between them so it dug straight out the other side behind the gland. No ivy ever choked a tree as snug as that creature wrung out with its braid limb and limb in one horrific hug. Fast together they seemed to graft their shades. The ooze and deliquescing of hot wax merges closer as it is unmade. Or paper as it's lit an inching track before the fire, burning, dying, shows a crescent that is neither white nor black. "Angelo, you change right now, you," the others cried at once, as we observe, "appear to us as neither one nor two." 2 cheeks met, and in one thawing curve a face was fleshed in whose vague synthesis the semblances of neither was preserved. Legs to forelegs, stomach to chest, to this, 4 limb lengths linked into a pair of arms that neither one before called his. The former forms were gone, and a strange blur stood before me there, writhing in place, having and lacking both in neither nature. As lizards during August's hottest days may skitter underneath the hedgerow's shadow, then flash like lightning bolts across the way. Just so, out of nowhere a serpent flew, a pepper black and fiery-looking dart, right at the torsos of the other 2. Speared into the first one at the part where man first is fed, then dropped, and snaked its length before his feet. As if unhurt, the man stood there, wordless and transfixed. He stared, dreamlike, at the serpent yawned. The serpent stared right back. Corpse smoke thick through one's mouth and through the other's wound came pouring out between them in great billows, which clasped their coils closely and communed. "Of Sabalus and Nicetus loosen now, take your turn in silence, and behold how this arrow flies up from my bow. And Ovid, you whose verse-making once spilled Arethusa to a fountain and refined Cadmus to a serpent, be silent, yield mastery for me, for in no line of yours were ever natures face to face, so wholly juxtaposed and intertwined. exchanging both substance and energies. The snake's tail split apart, the sinner drew, feet together and knit up his knees. Legs and thighs coalesced and grew, so unified that soon no one could tell by cleft or crease that there had ever been two. And just as it did so, the cloven tail cleft to the other's form as if in spite. One skin softened, one skin froze to scales. The armpits rose high up and seemed to eat the arms from under them. While that was done, at the same rate the snake lengthened his feet, knotted his hind claws up to nip the bone, and did such agony for man to hide, just as the wretch made hind claws of his own. As smoke engulfed them in a darkening shade, one peeled bald, and one sprouted new hair, one color deepened, one color seemed to fade. One rose, one fell, yet both of them still stared, eye to eye, locked fast. Both coveted the shape they'd lost, the shape that they had shared. The biped drew his nose back and his head behind the temples. Bulbs of ears began, growing from the excess it had shed. And from the stub where those soft oozings ran down the cheek, a nose fit to be worn, the chin's shore split into the lips of man. The way a snail will tuck in both his horns, the sprawled one, at the pace the thin snout crept higher up, drew in his ears, and torn to two pieces that tongue that had once dropped sweet names forked apart. The other fit its forks together fast. The smoke was stopped. The new beast lashed its tail and scurried flat upon its belly, hissing into stone. The new man opened up his mouth and spat. Crawling on all fours, I'd have you run, shrugging once, through all this filthy range of stone to have so just as I had done. So the seventh pit, abyss of change. Pardon my pen if somewhere these lines mar the truth of what I saw so dark and strange. But though my eyes were well misted with tears, both sight and mind discerned that wicked three whose shapes at this time now are still too clear. Puccio the lame, who did not flee, and kept his form alone of those we met. The other soul beside him there was he, whose death Gabriel we grievously regret.